Hey everybody, JC here, about to get on the road to Austin, Texas, the ATX. It is about 2:15 in the afternoon, and I already have the navigation set, so let's go ahead and get on the road. Press the little blue button, pull out of my home driveway, and we're on our way. Awesome. Beautiful day here in the Houston area. It's hot again, showing 98 degrees, but feels a whole lot warmer than that. Yesterday, we got quite a lot of rain. I was thinking of heading over yesterday, but then by the time the afternoon rolled around, we had some pretty torrential thunderstorms come through, and at the time they said they would be rolling through all evening and basically heading from the Central Texas area all the way over to here to Houston. So I just made the decision to go ahead and wait, come on over today, and as you can see, much nicer today anyway. I could have gone ahead and just hoofed it over yesterday, but again, it can be pretty draining to go through 3 hours of rain. So much nicer today. Although definitely a lot warmer too though. So a little bit more drain on the battery. I'm leaving the house at right about 80%, actually 78%. So I could make it all the way to Austin on 78%, but I'm gonna go ahead. Right now, I currently have planned to do a Tesla Supercharger stop in Giddings, Texas. That's the same place I stopped at when I went over last week for that quick trip, that 24-hour trip. So my current plan for this trip back over to Austin is it's going to be a more extended stay. And we'll go into some of that as well. But just for now, once we get up on the road, I definitely have a list of items that I was going to go through. Don't get me wrong, I am not going to speak, I'm not going to talk for this entire drive, however long it takes. Obviously depends on traffic. Fortunately, I'm on the north side of Houston, so I don't have to go down into, I avoid all the inner city Houston traffic. But there can still be some traffic on the north and northwest side of town trying to get towards Austin. So, yeah, I'm going to guesstimate, say it's probably going to be more about 2.5 hours or so to get over there. So I will not be talking the entire way. I'm going to film the entire drive, but I don't know. I'm not even sure I can find things to talk about nonstop, incessantly for 2.5 hours. We got a Dodge Ram coming up to off the side of the road. Stop for us, that's good. But yeah, I jotted down a list of things that I thought would be interesting to talk about. Some things that I've heard on X here lately related to Tesla. I just thought we could chit chat on some of those. And then some questions that I've gotten in YouTube. So I jotted those down and thought I might talk about those as well. And then if something else comes to mind as I'm talking about each of those items, I'll talk about that. And one of the things I'll probably do on this road trip as well is periodically check in on X just to see if there's any interesting news or interesting posts from folks And if I see anything, you know, maybe I'll turn my face back to the camera and we can talk about that as well. But I do have some items jotted down. We'll wait until we get actually up on the highway, kind of get settled in. Got a little bit of an impasse here at the intersection of Knox Road and Adams, right before you get over the railroad tracks to cross over 494. There we go. Now it's starting to move. All right, come up. It's a stop sign, so we have to come to a complete and total stop. We do that. Put on our left blinker. There we go. Make our left, get in the queue here behind the Nissan Rogue. I'm not sure why it's not moving up over the track. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's interesting. It waited for that vehicle. It did not, I mean, I guess it was playing safe and didn't want to get on the railroad tracks, which is fine. I'm good with that. But I think there was plenty of room behind the Nissan Rogue once it pulled up here. So that was interesting. I didn't know if I thought I might have to do a quick little accelerator push to give it some help. I mean, this is, like I said, I've said before, this is a interesting little intersection here that confuses everyone because they've put up, and forgive me, I know some of y'all have heard this ad nauseum, but they've put up traffic lights about 9 months ago, and they haven't turned them on yet. And it confuses a lot of people. And for a while there, it was actually confusing FSD. FSD thought that they were live traffic lights and that therefore they were perpetually red, so we would never move. This was back on version 12. And if y'all might remember, that was one of the issues that we all had on version 12. I shouldn't say all of us, but the majority of us had, is that FSD still had issues with like blinking red lights and with traffic lights that had been installed but not made operational yet. All right, just checking the traffic here. All right, we're going to get up on the feeder. I don't know if we're going to be able to get all the way over to 59, though. Is it going to do it? Excellent job, FSD. Now, I'm going to tell you what. I did not think it was going to be able to make it all the way over to 59. Because you've only got about 300 to 400 feet to work with there on the feeder. And I'm not sure if y'all will be able to see it in the front camera, the one facing me, but there was quite a lot of traffic there on the 59 East Tex Freeway feeder going northbound. And man, I can tell you what, FSD did better than the vast majority of humans would have done, matriculating its way over to 59s. Great job, FSD. All right, we're only going to be on 59 for a couple of miles, and then we're going to get on Highway 99, and we'll be on Highway 99 for a while. I think we take that all the way over to 290, and then we'll be on 290 for a minute. 290 basically, you know, that's the road that goes all the way to Austin. So once we get up on Highway 99 and kind of get settled in, I'll set up my phone on the Joa MagSafe phone holder so that I can take a look at some of the stuff I had jotted down without making FSD angry. Because obviously I can't pick up my phone and look at it right now that we're still in the supervised mode of FSD. But I can put it there on the Joa MagSafe phone holder so that it's positioned where I still have to look at the front windshield while I'm reading things off the phone. So, all right, very good. Got over much sooner than last time. I don't know if anybody that saw my video from on Sunday when I was going to Conroe to see my daughter and her boyfriend, but FSD waited till the very last second to get all the way over to the on-ramp here for Highway 99. I liked that one much better. Much better. All right. Making our way on the on-ramp here. Curving around. And there's Highway 99, getting ready to merge with it. And yeah, so it shows that we are going to be on Highway 99 for the next 36 miles. And that's going to take us all the way to Highway 290, I should say. Westbound, going towards Austin, Texas. The ATX. All right, making our way over. Get ourselves settled in here. It's interesting. I'm not sure what's on the back of that truck. Is that like a lamp? Like one of those night lamps? Take a look at what that... No, I don't know. It looks like a speaker. Like yeah, it's got like a not a megaphone, but you know, I'm talking something that you would speak through that would. So, interesting. All right, so we are now comfortably on Highway 99, going westbound. We're going to be here for the next 35 miles. So let me go ahead and, as I mentioned before, I'm going to get my iPhone set up on the Joa MagSafe phone holder and charger. Highly, highly, highly recommend the Joa MagSafe phone holder and charger. It's tremendous. I love it. I would recommend basically all of Joa's products. They are really, really good. And they make products that are, you know, just specifically fit towards Teslas, and all Teslas, all makes and models, all years. So you could have a 2021 Tesla Model Y, and Joa's got products that are specifically made and fitted just for your 2021 Tesla Model Y performance, or whatever it is you have. So let me scoot my seat up here just a bit. I usually like to, when I'm just cruising, I put it all the way back. But obviously, if I'm going to use my Joa MagSafe, let's go ahead and get that set up here. All right, go. That all set up. And before we go into some of the things I was going to talk about, let me go ahead and just do some table setting. So I am in a Tesla Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive, manufactured in late 2024. I bought it in late 2024, September to be exact. So I've had, let me see here. So yeah, 9 months. So I have had, yes, I did. I needed my fingers to count. Shut up. So I have had it for 9 months now. I've got about 32,000 miles on it after 9 months. Yes, that is a lot. But as you know, if you've been following me on X or YouTube, subscribing to me to YouTube or watching my videos, there's a couple of reasons I have so many miles on my Tesla. Number one, oh, getting a little bit of a nag there. Let me take care of that. There we go. One of the main reasons that I have 32,000 miles after 9 months is Uber. So I've been doing Uber for 2 months now. And in the city of Houston, if you are going to do Uber and do it for more than just kind of a side hustle or side gig for, you know, just weekend stuff or maybe a few hours each day, you know, I was doing it, like I said, average of 7-8 hours every time I did it. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but probably if you averaged me out, it was probably, 7 or 8 hours. Well, you're going to put in 8 hours of Uber in Houston, Texas, if you are constantly going and you are accepting all, and you're open to everything. Like I said, I was open to every part of town. I accepted all rides, and I've already been through why I did that. But if you do that, you're going to cover 200 to 250 miles a day because Houston's just so big. Now, a lot of it's going to be highway miles, right? So I'll acknowledge all that's not all hard miles. When I say hard miles, like, city and suburb, but still, it's a lot of miles. A mile's a mile, right? So that's a big reason for it. Is, yes, I've probably averaged close to 250 miles a day doing Uber. But again, I've been making $250 a day when I do that. So, yeah, I'm making about $1 a mile, basically. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. You can take those little factoids and think about it from a driverless robo-taxi standpoint, like what those economics mean. I can tell you, my riders are paying a lot more than $1 a mile. A lot more. I would say lowest I've seen is $2 a mile. But I'm going to tell you, I've seen quite a few riders who have paid well north of $2 a mile. I've seen some where, it was $7 or $8 a mile. Just depends on the time of day, area of town, whether there's a surge, supply of drivers, all of that stuff. So I would say the low end has been $2 a mile. That's the absolute low end, is about $2 a mile. I don't know what the average would be, so it's obviously not going to be up there at $7 or $8 a mile. Like I said, that's probably, for specific reasons. Got another nag there. It's interesting. It wasn't nagging me until we got up here on the highway. And so now it seems like every 5 to 10 minutes, it's kind of, it's only the second one. And some of it may be just because I'm looking around and whatnot, but again, no biggie. It's just the life we live in the supervised world. I'm looking around a bit. I'm talking. So as you know, when you start talking, your head moves more, and it's probably just the system, reacting to that. Look, at the end of the day, while we're in supervised world, we're just going to have to deal with that. That's just, it is what it is. It's a lot better than what we had back in the version 12 days of when we didn't just have a nag every once in a while. We had it every minute or two, right? So this is, and you were constantly on the look, like you were just basically ready for that next nag, right? So it made it so much less enjoyable. Now when a nag comes up, it's almost like a surprise. Oh, okay, I got to take care of that. No biggie. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I have so many miles on my Tesla. And then the other reason is I've done quite a lot of road trips since I bought this Tesla. So I bought this in September, the same month I retired from KPMG, kind of like a retirement gift to myself, my second Tesla. Of course, I needed a new Tesla anyway, but that's another story. But anywho, got this brand new Model 3 quote-unquote Highland. I know a lot of folks in our community don't like anybody to use the word Highland or Juniper. Just call it a Model Y or call it a Model 3. Well, yeah. I got a new Model 3 in September 2024, right when I retired. And I have, since I've had this Tesla, since September of 2024, 9 months, I've done a road trip all the way to California and back. And I don't mean the direct route to California. I mean a very circuitous route that, if I remember correctly, when it was all said and done, I think that road trip was either 4,500 miles or 4,800 miles. It had a 4-handle in front of it. So damn near 5,000 miles. And that road trip was related to the 10/10 event, the October 10th event in Burbank, with Tesla unveiling the Cybercab, which was really, really cool. Got to meet a lot of great folks in the Tesla community during that trip. So that was a heck of a lot of fun. Taking care of another nag there. So that was one road trip. And then pretty much as soon as I got back from my 2-week road trip going out west, because it wasn't just the 10/10 event I went to. I lived it up. When I say lived it up, I made a lot of stops. So I went to Amarillo, went out to Cadillac Ranch there, went to one of the national parks there in the Amarillo area, did a hike, went over to New Mexico to the Navajo Reservation, Navajo Nation, stayed overnight there, did a couple of hikes in one of those national parks, went to Arizona, went to the Grand Canyon, did a hike all through the south rim of the Grand Canyon. That was awesome. Stayed overnight there. Then I went to, where'd I go next? Joshua Tree, around 29 Palms, California, in Southern California. Stayed overnight there. Tremendous. Highly recommend going to Joshua Tree, as I do the Grand Canyon. And then when I was done at Joshua Tree, I went on into LA to Burbank for the 10/10 event. And I ended up staying in LA for 3 or 4 days. My wife actually flew out to LA to spend a long weekend there with me. And so had fun there. We stayed in Huntington Beach. That's like one of my favorite places on earth. Not gonna lie. You can make fun of California all you want. Quite frankly, my happy place, one of my just number one happy places on earth, is Huntington Beach, California. Orange County, California. I love it. Absolutely love it. 2 of my favorite places on earth are Huntington Beach, and I would even say Seal Beach and other parts of Orange County. And then San Diego. I love San Diego. I actually, obviously lived in San Diego for a while as a Marine. We got a Cybertruck coming up on us right here. Let me give them a thumbs up. I don't even know if he saw me. Man, look, you see that quick acceleration there? Well, I gave him a quick thumbs up. Oh, he just realized, I guess he needed to get off on Gosling. Let's see. Yep, he's getting off on Gosling. Well, he definitely wasn't on FSD. Use your FSD, son. Well, that was cool. Saw a Cybertruck in the wild. I gave him a thumbs up, but I don't even think he was paying attention to me. It looked like he was looking at his navigation, which, as we can see, he probably needed to. What else? Oh yeah, so then after I was done in LA for a long week, and I got to see Miss Jillian. I went out there and we did some FSD stuff on one of the evenings there that weekend. So that was fun. I got to see Tesla AI Girl. I got to see Alicia. Got to see musician Tariq. I saw a few other people as well. Got to meet them for the first time, so that was cool. And then Miss Jillian and EV1. I think oh man, forgive me. I'm making sure I get her handle right. But she was so nice. I think it was EV1 lady but I know her. If I saw, I know her, but I can't remember. Sometimes these X handles, it's just hard for me to get the exact nomenclature right, but she knows who she is. She was great too. She was a lot of fun. But hung out with them for one of those evenings. No, Miss Jillian did not try to kill me. I thought she would a couple of times, but she did not. We had a great time. Did FSD together. Did some actual smart summon in the parking lot. I think it was a Target parking lot there in Culver City, if I remember right. And then when the weekend was over and my wife flew back home, I began my journey back and went to Vegas first. Got to see my son, my oldest son, who's in the Navy. He was actually there for Fleet Week that week, so it worked out perfectly. And obviously I got to see my second son, my Marine son, when I was in Huntington Beach. He drove up from San Diego. He's at Miramar. Drove up to Huntington Beach for that, so got to see him. And then when I left Vegas, I went all the way through Utah, and I stopped at Moab and Zion National Park. I'm going to tell you what. Two of the most beautiful places on earth are in Utah. Moab and Zion National Park are just absolutely phenomenal. Highly, highly, highly recommend. If you ever get a chance, go to Utah. It's one of the most beautiful states in the country. And those two locations, Moab and Zion National Park, are two of the most beautiful places on earth. Absolutely. So did that. And then from there, I went on over to Western Colorado and met up with Landon and spent a night with him and his significant other and Angela, and that was great. So much fun. Beautiful, beautiful place that Landon has there in Western Colorado, and it's got a little horse farm there. Just beautiful, beautiful. That's why I made that joke. Like when I drove up on his land, I was like, this is what it means to buy and hold. But yeah, it was just gorgeous. And so had a fun time with Landon. Got there in the evening, spent the night, had dinner with Landon, and then we got up in the morning and we spent all day driving around Western Colorado, Western and Central Colorado. He took me to which ski resort is that? Telluride. It was not in season, but that's fine. It's still, we had a lot of fun doing that. And then I got back on the road, and my plan was to go to Denver to meet a couple of people that live in the Denver area. But as luck would have it, while I was basically about midway between western Colorado and Denver, because Denver's kind of on the eastern side of Colorado, not kind of, it is on the eastern side of Colorado. There's quite a lot of mountainous terrain in between, as you can imagine, because most of the mountains are to the west of Denver. So I was driving through all of that, and as luck would have it, a big old snowstorm came through that evening that I was driving. And so I just made a game time decision. I was like, I'm from Southeast Texas. I do not have snow tires on my Tesla. And I'm from Southeast Texas. I'm not used to snow. So, what do they say? Caution is the better part of valor. And I just decided right then and there. I stopped. I thought about it for a little bit. Went to the nearest Tesla Supercharger, got charged up, and I just started heading south. And one of these days I'll get over to Denver, but it wasn't going to be that night. And so I started heading south. And fortunately, I got far enough south before the worst part of the storm came through, and started making my way south and got all the way back into Texas and the Amarillo area, and then just started heading back to Houston. And yeah, when it was all said and done, I had over 4,500 miles. Again, it was either 4,500 or 4,800 on my Tesla. So, apologies if I bored the living crap out of you with that recap of my October road trip to California. But man, it was so fun. It was 2 weeks. Basically, it was a full 2 weeks. And man, I'll tell you what, it was so much fun. But the last couple of days, I was just ready to get home. I kind of felt where the point for me is, like, where you want to go out there and you want to adventure and you want to see new things and have a great time, and especially in a Tesla with FSD, it just makes it so much more fun. But that being said, yeah, I would tell you, right at about a week and a half, maybe a little more than that, I had with a couple of days left, and that was with me getting to see my wife during that weekend to kind of cut it in half. I still wanted to get home. I was ready to get home. I missed my dogs, Can't be away from my dogs too long. So yeah, I did that road trip, and then basically as soon as I got back from that road trip, which was around mid to late October, let me think here for a second. So, so that would have been around October 17th or 18th when I pulled back into Houston. Yeah, because I left about like October 4th or 5th. Then, about a week later, lo and behold, my brother-in-law has some pretty significant medical issues up in Kentucky, where he was on a job site. He's a construction worker, and he had to go into the emergency room, and they had to get him ready for emergency surgery. So my wife and I got in my Tesla, and we drove all the way up to Kentucky. And granted, we weren't going up there for the best of reasons. I wish that had never happened to my brother-in-law, but it was still fun to road trip up to Kentucky. So yeah, we went all the way up through East Texas, went through Arkansas, a little bit of Louisiana, but all of Arkansas, half of Tennessee. So you go all through Arkansas, through Little Rock and West Memphis, and then you go through half of Tennessee. You basically go from Memphis over to Nashville, and then Nashville you cut due north to go up to Kentucky. And then we went to Louisville, Kentucky, and we stayed, gosh, how long we were probably in Louisville, Kentucky for about a week, just being with like being there for him while right before he went into surgery, and then to see him when he came out. And then my wife was able to be there with him in his hospital room every day, while he was still there in the hospital post-surgery. And I took the opportunity to do some short trips around the state of Kentucky, which was phenomenal. I loved it. Kentucky is such a beautiful state. And then once my brother-in-law was good enough, we transported him back to Houston so he could do some rehab, some rehabilitation. And so we road tripped on back. So that right there, up to Kentucky and back, and then the little short trips, that was probably, 1,000 miles up, 1,000 miles back, and then I probably did 1,000 miles of day trips during that week I was up there. So I was another 3,000. So there's damn near 8,000 miles with the 2 road trips. Then my wife got a new job in January. Really proud of her. Her career is just going really, really well. And so she got a brand new job, got a promotion getting this new job. She's essentially the controller of the company she works for. And but one of the main facilities or main offices for this company is in Wichita, Kansas, which she needs to be up at periodically. And so when she got that job, she flew up there the first couple of times, and you know exactly what happened. Both times that she flew is that both flights were delayed, both up there and back. It was horrendous experience. And so she was just like, hey, you're retired now. Why don't we try, let's just try it out. Do you mind road tripping me up to Wichita and staying? I was like, hell no, I'll do anything you want me to, babe. And so instead of her going through all of the hassles of a flight from Houston to Wichita, Kansas. Now, that being said, there is a direct flight from Houston to Wichita, so I don't want to make it sound like it's planes, trains, and automobiles. There is a direct flight. But it's one of those little bitty Embraers that bounces around in the sky like a toothpaste tube. It's not as fast as the 737s or 777s. So it's still a long flight. And I mean, she was just both times, they got delayed each leg of the flight. They'll go in there and coming back. And so it ended up being an all-day event anyway. Getting ready to go to the airport, driving to the airport, get there with plenty of time, and then you get delayed, and then you finally get up there. It's a bumpy ride, because you are going through Wind Alley, right? You think going Texas to Kansas, I mean, that's Wind Alley. That's why there's so many wind turbines, windmills, wind farms up through that area. So you're just being bounced around in that Embraer. And so it ended up being an all-day event anyway. And so it takes about 10 hours to drive from Houston to Wichita. We're on the north end of town. We're in one of the northern suburbs, so that cuts 35 miles out of it. But still, so we don't have to go through any Houston traffic going up that way. But yeah, she just said it was so much more enjoyable. I mean, she just, throw your luggage in the trunk of the Tesla, recline the seat all the way back, have a pillow and a blanket. Don't care what you look like. Don't care what sounds you make. She's a lady, though. But just, relax. And, yeah, does it take longer than a 2.5 hour flight? Of course. But soup to nuts, it's not that much different. When you count getting to the airport, needing to get there with time to spare, getting delayed, all of that stuff, getting an Uber from the Wichita airport to the hotel. Yeah. So, what else? So yeah, we've done that Houston to Wichita. I want to say we've done that 4 or 5 times now. Yeah, probably 5 times. And so, like I said, that is gosh, what is that? I want to say it's 600 or 700 miles. I can't remember, but it's so you're probably talking about 12 to 1,500 miles round trip. And of course, while I'm up there for that week, all right, we're getting on 290 now. So I talked to the entirety of Highway 99 and I haven't even looked at my phone yet. FSD's doing great. It has nagged me a handful of times, but I expected that. You know, you're going 80 plus miles an hour on a major freeway here in Texas. I've got my sunglasses and a cap on, and it's sunny. That was to be expected while we're in supervised mode. So yeah, we've done that trip probably 5 times now. And what else? And when since we've been up there, for a while, we're up there for a work week. I've gone and done day trips around the state of Kansas, at Wichita, Kansas. So that's been fun. That's been fun too. So yeah, a lot of driving. That's why I've got 32,000 miles on my Tesla. Not just Uber, but all those road trips. All right. Well, now let me scoot my seat up a bit. Looks like we're going to be on 290 for about 40 miles. I think we're getting on Highway 36 for a little bit too. That's fine. I'm just going to let FSD take me. It always gets me there. We've got about an hour till our Supercharger stop at Giddings. So that'll be a nice little stop. I usually got to use the bathroom by then anyway. All right, let me get my phone all set up here a little better. In fact, let me, like that. There we go. That's a little better right there. All right. Let me pull up my questions here. Nope, not that. Talking points, Durger. Okay, number one of the questions that I got from YouTube. Of all you've done, so JC, you've done 700 plus Uber trips, just north of 700. So I'm on my way to 800. I'm gonna get to 1,000 soon, probably in Austin, and we'll talk about that. In fact, let me write that down. Let's see, Austin. Right. So apologies. I know my phone's. Oh shoot! Of course that would happen. Of course that would happen. Is it a nag me? No, it didn't nag me. Okay. Well, let me cancel out of that. Get that back up here. All right. Yeah. Apologies. I know my phone, when I have it up like that, it takes up a little bit of the windshield. But I like to have it up so I can, read from it. So when I'm not doing that, I'll make sure it's down. So one of the questions was, okay, JC, you've done 700 plus Uber trips in a 2-month span. How many of those people have been in Teslas previously? versus how many of them was it the first time ever in a Tesla? And then secondly, how many of those of your 700 plus riders had experienced full self-driving or any sort of autonomous vehicle at all, Waymo, any of them, had experienced that before getting in your Tesla? So let me take the first one. So I will tell you, I can't give you a strict number because obviously there's quite a few people that get into my Tesla, and other than those 4 really quick pleasantries, niceties at the beginning, hello, how are you? How is your morning, afternoon, evening going? Let me know if you got enough air back there. And finally, let me know if you need a phone charger. I've got one for each type of phone. After those, a lot of folks that get into my Tesla, I'm going to say 7 out of 10, there really isn't any more conversation after that until the very end. I've had a lot of trips where I do those 4 quick pleasantries, and then it is just stone cold silence until I am 50 feet away from their destination, and I just need to confirm with them exactly where they want me to drop them off. And then we say goodbye. That's probably 7 out of 10 Uber rides. So I am not going to know anything about those 70% at all. But what you can do is, there's probably not going to be a lot of difference in riding experience between the 30%, the 3 out of 10 that do talk to me and like to carry on conversations, and the 7 out of 10 who don't talk. Because I think if you don't enjoy having a chat in an Uber, that doesn't make you so much different than the other 30% because you've experienced autonomy before. No, they just don't want to have a conversation. If they got into a Honda Accord, if I had a Toyota 4Runner or a Honda Accord, they still wouldn't want to talk to me, right? It's just a rider preference. So what I'm going to do, and forgive me because this is not scientific, but I'm just going to assume that what I've seen with the 30% that I do talk to would be that I can infer that on the other 70%. So what I have seen is, of the folks I've talked to, let's say out of 10 people that I have conversations with in my Tesla, let's take 10 people so that we can do some averages here. I would say 2 to 3 of them have been in a Tesla before. So I would say my guess would be is of my riders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to infer that on the other 70%. So out of 100% of my riders, I would say 20 to 30% of them have been in a Tesla before. And the reason, that's probably not going to be too shocking that I found that, and I found that out over doing many, many trips. The reason why that number may be higher than a lot of people might think in Houston is that Teslas are just great for Uber. So a lot of folks that want to do Uber full time and really go hard in the paint in it, like I said, that I've said this on my Sunday video, I don't know why you would drive anything but a Tesla and do Uber. I mean, it is almost like it was tailor-made for Uber. And I'm not just talking about the FSD, right? Okay, well, let me pay attention to this right here, because we're gonna need to get back over there. That was kind of interesting. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a navigational snafu, right? Because it was getting over in the leftmost lane, but you and I could see that leftmost lane was about to end. And I don't know if it's because this version of FSD 13.2.9 doesn't, the model's just not large enough at where that is right now. For that, I don't know if that's a memory thing or what that is, but you and I could clearly see about 400 or 500 feet ahead of us that lane that we moved over into was about to go away. And FSD got over there anyway. Ended up not being anything, nothing we had to pay too much of attention to because that truck got over, that semi got over. But again, I don't know, that's just one of those comfort things. I will tell you, I've always kind of I just let FSD do its thing in those situations. And I've never had an issue, but it's just not comfortable. Just when you see that it's about to merge, just get over. Who cares? That's one that I hope with this larger model that they're talking about with version 14 or 13.3 or whatever. I hope that is one of the things that it does a better job of, is just, hey, when you see the lane is about to end and merge over, just go. Like, who cares? I don't need that extra 2 to 3 seconds. Just get over. So, again, that's a comfort thing. It's not an intervention thing. So yeah, we were talking about Tesla. So yeah, so a lot of people that do Uber use Teslas. Now, what I will tell you is when I ask them that, let's say that 20 to 30%, that 2 to 3 out of 10 that say they've been in a Tesla before, they also tell me, but I've never been in a Tesla like this. And here I'm laughing because this is like your baseline Model 3. But I know what they mean is that all of the Teslas they've been in previously have been like older Model 3s or older Model Ys. And so there's a lot of things they're seeing for the first time. The ambient light bar, the screen in the back, the bigger screen in the front, more leg room. There's definitely more leg room in the refresh Model 3 as compared to the older Model 3. And then maybe less noticed by them would just be the road noise. I mean, it's so much better in this refresh Model 3. But definitely the thing they all notice is the ambient light bar. Everyone loves it. They love the light bar that goes around. It's a Tesla. Whoever went with the decision to put the light bar in all new Teslas, that person needs a raise and a promotion. It needs to be put on other projects because they hit it out of the park. Every single person that has ever said anything to me as far as a conversation in my Tesla always bring up the ambient light bar. They love it. The second thing they talk about that would be new is the screen in the back. I would tell you, the second thing they bring up is the roof. Everyone loves the roof, but as you all know, this same roof is in the older Model 3s and Ys as well. But they talk about the screen. They definitely remark on the larger screen, perceived larger screen here in the front too, and that they love the graphics on it. It just looks so futuristic and, not tied to anything from the past. The future should look like the future, right? So yeah, I would say 20 to 30% of my riders have been in a Tesla before, but I would also say damn near 0%. I'd almost have to say 0% because I have not had anybody get in my Tesla yet and tell me oh, I love this new Model 3. I was just in one the other day. Or, yeah, I was just in a new Model Y. None of them. So I'm going to have to go with zero. So seems like there's not a lot of Uber drivers out there with new Teslas. They're all using like old Model 3s and old Model Ys. That makes sense, right? That totally makes sense. You know, go ahead and pound the living hell out of those things. They're ground pounders too, as is this one. Obviously, this one's better, right? Because Teslas just get better year after year. So my battery pack, my motors, my electronics, all of it is just going to be better. So it's not like I'm worried about pounding the hell out of a new Model 3 versus just getting an old one. Because no, I'm going to be able to use this one a lot longer than an old Model 3 and get a lot more money out of it, right? Like I told you, I'm getting $200 to $250 a day. Not today, right now. Right now I'm spending money, but I'm going to make it back when I upload these videos. No, not quite, not even close. But, yeah, definitely not even close. But, we'll get a little bit of social media income, but nothing like Uber. Uber's good money like that. But I wanted to do this solo video for y'all. See, I would say none of them have seen the refresh Model 3 or Model Y. And man, they're just blown away. So that's kind of I'd say 20 to 30% have been in a Tesla before, but it's always been like a 2018-19 Model 3 or a 2021-22 Model Y. That's the typical Uber driver's car. And so I am definitely not a typical Uber driver with a brand new Model 3. And that does help a bit. I am a little bit north of the average Uber driver on getting tips. So maybe that helps out. Maybe that helps out part. It's the new Model 3. And when I say I'm a little north of it, not a lot. I would say the typical, I think I've heard this. The average Uber driver, only 15% of riders leave a tip, right? 85% of Uber riders do not tip. And I've gone through that before. That's fine. I totally get it. But only 15% tip. I've been kind of in that 20 to 25% range. And so that's been good. So I'm a little bit north of average on how many of my riders tip. And I will tell you, those that do tip, man, they tip good too. Like I said, I've had people leave $5, $7, $10 tips, right? And these aren't on like really, really long drives, right? Don't get me wrong, I've had the dollar tip here and there too. And believe me, I'm going to tell you honestly, folks, if you just tipped a quarter or 50 cents, you know, it could be $1 or less. I don't even know if Uber lets you do that, but you could tip a quarter, and it's just the fact that you tipped your Uber driver. I'm going to tell you, I could care less. I'm not in this for revenue generation, but I will tell y'all as Uber riders, the ones of y'all that don't tip, and I get it, a lot of you, it's tough. I get it. It's your transportation. But man, it would just even a little bit would make your Uber driver it's a way to say thanks. And and Uber, if you're listening to this, if you're not able to do that, if they can't leave less than $1, could y'all change that? Because I would love, honestly, 50 cents to it. It's just a thank you. And quite frankly, a lot of these Uber drivers do, lots of trips during the day. So that's going to add up. If they end up with 10, 15 extra bucks at the end of the day, shit, that's almost close to, not quite, but that's like a half an hour to an hour of their time. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Not on this subject matter. So yeah, that's on being in a Tesla. FSD, I would say 0. I have not had anyone get into my Tesla who has been in a Tesla before, which again, as we just mentioned, is probably a 2019 Model 3 or a 2021 Model Y. None of them have experienced FSD. All of those Uber drivers were driving manually. All of them. I've had one individual in my Tesla who, oh, you know what? I take that back. I've had two. Because I don't know if y'all remember, I had that young lady who was the waitress there at one of those swanky restaurants in the Galleria area of Houston. She was actually a Tesla owner, and she had subscribed to FSD for a while, but she had an old Model 3 hardware 3 was on 12, and this was like when we're like early days of 12. She just didn't like it. It just wasn't her cup of tea. I mean, she loved FSD. It was just messing up too much for her. And again, I don't want to get into a hardware 3 versus AI 4 debate. I know that that's one of those things that we talk about a lot in the Tesla community. I can't speak to that because I don't own a hardware 3 vehicle. But what she told me was that it just got to the point where she was intervening so much that it wasn't making the drive. Like, look here. I mean, I'm halfway to Austin, and I haven't had to do a damn thing, right? I have not had to take over the steering wheel. I have not had to touch the accelerator or the brake. I have not had to do, and I haven't, honestly, I'm ready to go. I'm here supervising, but it's not weighing on my mind, right? And so it's making this ride so much more enjoyable, right? Well, for her, it was the exact opposite. That being said, have I been in the car in the passenger seat with her, watching her with FSD? No. And I know that's an important factor, and everybody in the Tesla community knows exactly what I'm talking about. Because we've been in those cars with people that are just control freaks. My wife, I love my wife more than anything in the world. Like, other than my kids, I don't love anybody else any more than her. But she's a control freak. She just is. Don't get me wrong, she's the nicest. When I say control freak, let me be clear here. That is not a personality, something bad. It's not something bad at all. She's the nicest person on earth. Most hardworking, nicest person. Will do anything for anybody. I mean, I got so lucky with her. So when I say control freak, I don't mean like micromanage people. She's not that. I'm just saying that when she drives, when she does something, she's in control. When she's put in charge of something, buddy, you better know my wife is in control. When it involves you needing me to do something for you, just know my wife is in control of me. So if you need my time for anything, talk to my, no, I'm kidding on that part. But all right, where are we coming into now? I think let me keep an eye on speed limits through here. I think we're still good. As long as we're at like 70, 75 speed limit, I don't worry about being on the hurry mode. But a lot of times what I'll do is once we start going into these towns where the speed limit is like 55 to 65, just so you know, what I generally do is I go on the chill mode when I'm going through some of these towns, because then it brings it back basically the way they want you to go through these towns. I stay on the hurry mode 99% of the time. But once we're kind of going through a town, I put it on the chill mode. Because chill mode with Tesla FSD was basically tailor-made for going through a town. When the highway, you know what I'm talking about, when a highway's going through, we'll see it. You'll see it when I do it. But right now, I think we're still on 70, 75 miles. So I'm good to go. So yeah, to go back to your aunt, like, no, nobody. I've had two people experience autonomy. That young lady in her hardware 3 Model 3. But she loved FSD. She just wants to get an AI for Tesla. She's heard about how good it is. And she witnessed it in my Tesla. And basically when she got out, she was like, that's it. I got to find a way to do it. I've got to save the money. Got to talk to mom and dad. Maybe they can help me out. Blah, blah. I told her, do what you got to do. I was like, baby girl, get yourself into an AI for Tesla. Just do it. Just do it. Get rid, and again, I am not going to get into the debate of hardware 3 versus AI 4. All I know is what I saw in her eyes. I shouldn't say that. My wife may like it. I was not looking in her eyes at all. But what okay, so now, all right, we're about to slow down. So let me put it on chill mode here. Autopilot. Let's go down to chill. And you'll see it. There we go. So now we're going through a town, speed limit 60. Let's see how we do here. We're getting over into the right lane. Still going a little north of the speed limit, but much more. Well, we're basically going with traffic right now in front of us. But we're going to always kind of gear towards whatever is going on in the right lane. Let's just see how we do going through this town. Let me see. Where are we at? We're in Chapel Hill, Texas. Yes, there is a Chapel Hill, Texas. It's not just North Carolina. North Kakalaki, as I love to call it. I used to live in North Kakalaki for 2 to 3 years of my Marine Corps experience. I was in Jacksonville, North Carolina, right there on the coast, Onslow Beach. I love North Carolina. A great state. I definitely prefer the interior of North Carolina. Don't get me wrong. North Carolina's got some beautiful beaches, and some of those beach towns are just wonderful. But I'm going to tell you what, if you ever get a chance to drive through western and central North Carolina, where it's basically the Appalachian, Asheville, Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, oh my gosh, it is just so beautiful. North Carolina is just a great, great state. The other thing I really like, I stay away from politics for the most part on my YouTube channel, but I will say this. One of the things I love about North Carolina too is it's not red. It's not beet red. It's not, just bright blue, but it's kind of purplish. And I don't know what it is, but I love purple states. I just do. They're like the best of everything, right? So, let me give you for instance, North Carolina, some of the best pulled pork barbecue you are ever going to eat in your life. Some of the nicest good old boys and good old gals you're ever going to meet. Really nice little quaint southern towns. I mean, it's where Mayberry. I mean, Andy Griffith comes from North Carolina, right? Mayberry is in North Carolina, right? On the Andy Griffith Show. I mean, it is that time. But if you go to Asheville, I will tell you, Asheville will remind you quite a bit of Austin, Texas, or Athens, Georgia. Very eclectic, kind of like, that college town feel. Lots and lots of blue-leaning people. But that's fine. That's what you want. You want that nice combination, that gumbo, that stew. You don't want bright, bright blue, because they go crazy in a lot of ways. You don't want beet red, because they go crazy in other ways, right? And so, I really like those states that kind of have that purple hue. Remember what was Southbound and Down? They got a purple hue. Will Ferrell's character. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's one of the things I love about. How did I get on North Carolina? Oh, because we're in Chapel Hill. Sorry about that. But yeah, I love North Carolina. Overly optimistic. I think I give too much away because overly keeps a kind of incognito, as they say, as many of y'all are on X. Totally respect that. No, there's tons of reasons for it. But I want to say Overly is from that rural, kind of western central part of North Carolina. At least I think that's what he's told me before on Spaces. But yeah, I just love that area. That's my favorite part of North Carolina. Virginia as well. Going through the state of Virginia, South Carolina, North Georgia, East Tennessee, woo-wee, Eastern Kentucky. I love that area. Anywho, yeah, that's why, because we were going through Chapel Hill. Y'all already see I can go off on tangents. I may talk for this entire damn drive. All right, back to the regularly scheduled. So yeah, two people. That young lady, and then there was one young man, one of those oil and gas engineers that I had. He actually experienced Waymo when he was in San Francisco at some point in time. And he said he really liked Waymo, but he had never experienced Tesla FSD. In fact, he didn't believe it existed. He honestly, he told me as he was in his car, he's like, yeah, I heard about it, but I just didn't believe it. He was like, there's no way that operates like Waymo. And then when he saw it and I never did a thing, he was like, dude, that was autonomous. Like, I get it, you were in the driver's seat, but you didn't do a damn thing for 20 minutes. I go, I know. He's like, I told you, it's for real. So that was real interesting. So he hasn't, that was his first time experiencing Tesla FSD, but not his first time experiencing autonomy. He experienced Waymo. So two people out of 700 plus. That's it. So we got a lot of work to do, folks. A lot of work to do. Let me see. I think we're still going through town. I'm on the chill mode right now. See what I'm talking about? On chill mode, you just kind of hang out in the right lane. You don't go the traffic. I'm like, what is it? Oh, okay, we're back to 70. Now, is it back to 70? Seriously? Through here? Man, Texas, I tell you what, guys. Like, I thought it would have slid. Well, if we're, yeah, I think we're at a 70 speed limit. So let me go back to, sorry about that. So I'm going to go back to hurry for a while. If it's a 70 mile per hour speed limit. Oh, we're about to go through Brenham, so it looks like I'm about to go right back on chill. Let me see here. Let's see what happens. Now we're in hurry mode. Now we're going to jump over to the left lane and get around this slow poke up here, only going 76. So yeah, so if I'm going to go based on statistics, I'd say 20 to 30% of people have experienced a Tesla. They've all been old Teslas, and less than 1%. I mean, what's 2 out of 700? I mean, that's not even half of 1%. So it's literally zero. I mean, mathematically, you'd probably say it's 0%. If it's 2 out of 700, 2 people out of 700. Well, let me take that back. If I'm going to do this properly, if 30% of my riders talk to me and 70% don't, I'm going to infer on them. So 2 out of 30. So that would, so I got to double that on that group. So let's say, yeah, so that would be like 6 out of 7 out of 7. So, no, okay. So we're probably somewhere between 1 to 5% have experienced autonomy, if I'm truly going to infer it. So let's say 1, yeah, I just don't get the sense though. I think somebody that has experienced autonomy and knows that they're in Tesla FSD, they're going to talk to me, right? But there's a share, so I'm going to go down to chill mode. Let's just Better safe than sorry. Yeah, I think, although it's, okay, now it's showing 65 mile an hour speed limit. So now we are in, let me make sure of this. We are in, yeah, we're in Brenham. We're in Brenham, Texas. Brenham is the home of one of the greatest companies that makes one of the greatest products ever known to mankind and womankind, all the kinds. Bluebell ice cream. And it's, again, I think they sell it outside of Texas. But if you have never experienced Bluebell ice cream, in that today, if you can. If it's available in your grocery store and you've never experienced it, oh my God, it's the greatest thing in the world. Well, there's some other things that are valued. FSD, obviously, is a lot better. So yeah, that was, those are, that's what I would say. I would say 20 to 30% have been in a Tesla before, but literally two people out of everybody has experienced autonomy before. So we got a long way to go. And just how amazing is that? Because we know in the Tesla community, in the Waymo world, everybody that is laser focused on autonomy. So I'm not just talking about Tesla bulls, Tesla nerd geek boys like me, but I'm also, what is this truck doing here? What is going on here? That was weird. Oh, they were getting, oh, they're going to turn. So they were, okay, I get it. I was like, why aren't they getting over into the side lane? Getting off the road. But I see what they're doing. They're turning right. So they're being nice. And so it's not just Tesla folks, it's folks that are in the Waymo world. Shout out to everybody at Google, Alphabet Company, or whoever's working in the Waymo group. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are doing a fantastic job as well. Right? Let me kind of keep an eye here. What are we doing? All right. We've got about another 25 minutes till Giddings. Getting off on Highway 36. Making a little clover leaf here. Little loop-de-loop. All right. Now, speed limit's 45. Look, we're going 48. That's what I'm saying. Just see for everybody in the Tesla FSD community that's watching this video, this is what I would suggest. When you're on hurry mode, man, it's in a hurry. So for me, that is perfectly acceptable on the highways and freeways. Because I'm telling you, I don't know about your state, but in the state of Texas, if you're going 82 and a 70, I mean, you're probably slowing down traffic. So for me, hurry mode is perfectly fine in the state of Texas on highways. But I will tell you, when you're on these state highways and these county roads going through these towns, my suggestion is put it on chill mode while you're going. That way you're not having to like intervene and flick up and down on the speed limit stuff and micromanage everything. You know, obviously when I say intervene, I mean non-critical intervention type stuff. But my suggestion, just make it easy. Once you're on like a state highway or a county road, and you're going through these towns, just put it on chill mode. And then when you know you're kind of out of the town and the speed limit's back up to, 65 or 70, then put it back on hurry mode. And that way, you're not having, I'm telling you, on chill mode, it does really, really well going through these small towns. Really well. But I'm going to tell you what, on hurry mode, I've had it where I've forgotten that I kept it on. Okay, so there's our speed limit is 70 now. So I'm going to put it back on hurry. You see that? So I saw the 70 speed limit sign, put it back on hurry mode. But when you're going through these little towns, I'm going to tell you what, I've seen hurry mode go like, we'll have a 55 mile per hour speed limit going through a small town, and Tesla FSD will still be like at around 75 or 77. And I'm like, holy moly, come on. And then as soon as I put it on chill mode, bam, it's down to around, low to mid 60s, which in the state of Texas, if you go 62, 63 in a 55, you will not have issues. All right. Don't hold me to that. I'm not a police officer, right? So anything can happen, but just telling you based on personal experience. So yeah, those are the statistics on that. So, we're like 75% of the way to Austin now, and I've gotten through one question. Yeah, we're still in Brenham. We're on the outskirts of Brenham. So, what was the next question? What have you heard about FSD in Europe, in the EU? Oh my gosh. FSD in the EU. So that is a mixed bag right now. And the reason this question came, for folks on X, they're already going to know all this. But I do have quite a few YouTube subscribers and good friends over there that I interact with all the time on YouTube, and they're from Germany and Holland and Switzerland, Spain, the UK. I've got one person from Portugal that comments quite a bit. Where else have I seen? A lot of Germany. A lot of Germany. If I were just to go by my little rinky-dink YouTube channel, I would say the countries most interested in FSD are the UK, Germany, and Holland, the Netherlands. Man, the Netherlands is punching above its weight, too. They really want it there. So, yeah. But, guys, I'm sorry. It is just a mixed bag. Because it seems like there's some countries that are really interested in going for it, like Norway, the Netherlands. Norway makes me happy because that's basically my ancestral home, right? Most of my, obviously being American, I'm kind of a mutt, but yeah, the biggest part of my bloodline comes from Norway, Iceland, and the northern part of the UK, or what today is the UK. Obviously, I don't know if it was the northern. I don't even know if it was the UK at that point in time. Probably, Scotland, Wales, something like that. Wales, Scotland, whatever's up there in the north. But that's my people. Norway, Iceland, and the northern part of the UK islands. That little triangle there. Which makes sense if you look back on the handful of millennia of murderous ploys between them. It's just a lot of raping and pillaging going on there. Anywho, that's beside the point on this channel. Yeah, but that's glad to see that that Norway is really interested in it. The Netherlands is, I think, seems like they're going hard in the paint. But that's really the only two I've seen. Everybody else. All right, it looks like we're kind of coming into a town here. It's still, wow, right now it's 75 mile per hour speed limit. Oh, we're not coming through a town. It was just one of those big fast tracks. Okay. Thought we were coming into a town, but we are not. All right, slowing down a bit as we go past this semi carrying some fracking equipment. I can see fracking equipment from a mile away. I know what that looks like. It's funny. I'm probably the foremost expert on fracking technology in the Tesla community. No, I take that back. There's probably a few others. But that was frack pumps. Not a full pump, but that was some of the equipment that goes with fracking right there. Anyway, so yeah, those are really, and let me know if y'all have heard of 2 other countries that seem to be amenable to it, but the only ones I've heard of are Norway and the Netherlands, Holland. And yeah, it just seems, and then yeah, Sweden, I mean, the city of Stockholm basically sent a letter to its constituents and said, we're too busy. We're not interested in testing out FSD because we're too busy. What? We're too busy with other things. You're too busy to not look at the most real-world artificial intelligence in the world? You're too busy for AI? I mean, that's like the stupidest state. I'm sorry, Sweden. I know I've got some people that subscribe to me on you, and I love you. The Swedish people are awesome. But whoever penned that letter from whatever office in the city of Stockholm, you are stupid. Literally what you're saying when you're saying I don't have time is you're saying, this AI thing, I don't know. I just don't have time to worry about artificial intelligence. Really? Really? Bro. Man, for all the Swedes out there, obviously my main Swede is Alexander Christensen on X. And he's the guy, man. He's interacted with Elon on X about this, trying to help get things along. Elon's liked, forwarded, and posted a bunch of his stuff. So Alexander's kind of like the tip of the spear on all this. But all of you other good Swedes, y'all need to get in there too. Send letters. Rattle the cages. Right? And I know y'all got headwinds in Sweden. I get it. Like you got the labor unions, that's going to be always be a big, and believe me, I'm pro. Look, I grew up in a union hall. My grandfather worked for he was a carpenter, and he was one of those dudes that volunteered and worked within the carpenters union. I don't have anything against union. I'm against unions doing stupid stuff. That's what I'm against unions doing things that will put its workers out of business. And that's what they're doing in Sweden right now. They're biting off their nose to spite their face. You got to be smart about this stuff, folks. I get it. You need to fight for fair wages, fight for full and fair employment. I am all about that. Like I said, I was raised in a union hall. So I will you'll never hear me. I'm not one of those guys that's going to get on X and talk crap about unions. I'm just not. It's part of my bloodline. Right? Put food on my table for a good part of my childhood when my mom couldn't take care of it. My grandparents were handling bills. Well, when my grandparents handled stuff, that was a union carpenter putting food on my back, Well, probably put food on my back. Putting food in my mouth and clothes on my back. That's union wages were doing that. So you are never, ever, ever going to hear me talk anything bad philosophically about unions. But when union leadership does stupid stuff, I'm going to be the first one to say how stupid it is because of my background, because of my bloodline, because I love those people so much. So Swedes, y'all need to speak up too. Don't be afraid of your union leadership. You're the ones they're working for. You're not working for them. Remember that. Union leadership is there for you. You are not there for the union leadership, right? You put them in place. They are supposed to act on your behalf. You're not there to be a pawn. You're not there to be a pawn of the corporate folks, obviously, but you're also not there to be a pawn for union leadership. And that's what they're doing to y'all right now in Sweden. I'm telling you, they're screwing y'all over, slowly but surely. Don't think you can stick your head in the sand and AI is just going to gloss over y'all. And just like, okay, we won't bother with Sweden. No. It's just going to keep going. So you're going to have to adopt this stuff and figure out how to, absorb it in. It's not going to stop. China is not going to stop with AI because you want it to. The United States is not going to stop with AI because you want it to. I mean, you may stop Tesla from being in Sweden. You may stop X, whatever it is. You may stop all those things from being in Sweden. But you know what's going to happen one day if you do that. It's all going to go away. All of it. 100%. Because you're not going to be competitive. You're just not. And so everything's going to go away. All right, time to go back on chill. There we go. Let's see how we do here. So we're coming into, there we go. We've got a 55 mile an hour speed. Now, I bet once we get past the semi, there we go. Got past that semi, get over to the right. Now let's start slowing down though. We got a 55 mile an hour speed limit here. There we go. I wish it would have slowed. Now I get it. It needed to put some space between us and that semi in front of us. So it's done that. And it's starting to slow down. But I'm telling you, it's still a little bit higher. We're going 71 and a 55 right now. I'm telling you. You're probably okay through here in Texas like that. But I would have still liked to have seen it be in the 60s. Going through a 55. Let's see. That's a lot. That's still slower than... All right, now we're at 70. And now we're back up to a 70 mile per hour speed limit. So, go back to hurry. We're about 10 minutes away from Giddings. There we go. Now we've got a 75 mile per hour speed limit. But yeah, that's kind of the lay of the land. So I just picked on Sweden for the last 10 minutes. Sorry about that. But it's because I love y'all so much. Y'all got great people. Some of the smartest people on the planet. And I've always thought of Sweden as being tech forward. Ericsson, Nokia, all of that stuff, right? So anywho, let's get them on board. Come on. So it's a mixed bag. And my understanding, don't get me wrong, I am the last person to ask about how the EU works with accepting new technologies like that. But my understanding is it kind of got to be accepted by the whole EU leadership, right? Like what do they call it? The UN ECE or something like that. And that's like 38 countries. So I'm like, whoa. Which I kind of get it. That's almost like the United States. Right? So we've got 50 different states within the United States, and each state kind of has its own sets of rules. And we kind of have certain federal guiding principles. We have a federal constitution that kind of overrides everything. But the way our federalist system works in the United States is if anything isn't specifically covered by the Constitution, then it's kind of left up to the states. To a degree, right? You can't, anyway, we're not going to get on it, but that's basically the way the federalist system works in the United States, is those things that are left, that are a part of the Constitution and are federal law, then that governs everybody. But then there's a lot of stuff that's not covered by federal law, and it's just kind of left to the states to decide. There's still some overarching principles, but the states get to decide, like liquor laws, right? So there's some states where you could damn near buy liquor 24/7, 7 days a week, right? Florida. a lot of states up in the Northeast, right? But in my home state of Texas, you cannot buy hard liquor on Sunday in a liquor store. Liquor stores are not even allowed to be open at all on Sunday. You can't buy beer before noon. You can't buy any alcohol between, like, I forget, the hours of 2 a.m. and I don't know. But I know you can't buy before noon. So we got blue laws. I know there's other states that are even more strict than that. Well, there's a good example. Liquor laws are basically left up to the state. The only thing about liquor that, at least the one that I know of, that's not left up to the states is the minimum drinking age, right? 21 across the board. But everything else is kind of left up to the states. DMVs, a lot of things about the roads are left up to the states, right? So we have different mile per hour traffic laws in Texas than a lot of states. You just saw it. We went through a handful of 75 mile per hour speed limit zones. Well, there's some states in this country where I don't even think y'all can get up above 65 or 60, right? They would never dream of having 75. And we have them all. Hell, you go out to West Texas and North Texas, we have 80 and 85. I saw an 85 mile per hour one on my way up to Amarillo. But that's Texas, right? So we have different road rules than you do. Part of the reason Robo-taxi is starting in Texas, because those type of rules are left up to the states to decide. That's not federal law. I would love there to be a federal kind of autonomous vehicle framework, and there will be soon, but for right now, it's essentially state by state. And Texas is the state where, let's just be blunt, we're less risk averse when it comes to things like that. Not to weed. I wish they would be less risk averse when it comes to weed, but I'm telling you, that's all. I forget it. I was about to get political there, and I don't want to. Well, we know why weed is still illegal in the state of Texas. We know it has nothing to do with health, because if that was the case, then you need to get rid of Jack Daniels. They're not about to do that. If it was about health, then you'd have to get rid of all the liquor stores in the state. It's not about health. If it was about driving, you'd have to get rid of all the liquor. It's not about any of that. We know exactly what it's about. You know exactly why. Because of the Lord, I tell you. The Lord didn't smoke. You never heard about Jesus Christ smoking a doobie? And if Jesus didn't smoke a doobie, I damn sure ain't gonna smoke no doobie. Well, Jesus Christ didn't have Jack and Diet Coke either. Oh no, I think in Timothy 1-12, he said, "Thou shalt have Crown Royal over ice." No, he did not. Well, I've heard people interpret it that way. So, that's why we don't have weed in Texas. And we need to end that quickly. That's just stupid. Legalize all of it. There, that's my political statement for the day on this channel. All right, we're about 5 minutes away. Giddings from our Supercharger stop. So yeah, that's the EU. I don't know when it's ever going to happen there. I just don't. And that sucks. I hate that for the folks in the EU. And now we've seen evidence of Tesla's trying. So before there was this argument, is Tesla doing everything they can do? Now we're seeing it. They are. It's not just Tesla, it's folks in the Tesla community. They are trying. It's the folks in these cities and these countries and the EU. They're the ones balking. And there's probably reasons there. I mean, there's probably some Tesla hate, but I honestly don't think it's Tesla and Elon hate. I think it's more of they're trying to protect their own local car makers who don't have shit, who don't have crap. Believe me, I know. My wife drives a Mercedes. It sucks. Her Mercedes has all the bells and whistles you could have in a newer Mercedes when it comes to ADAS. And it is a load of crap. Sorry, Mercedes. You got a great car. Man, it is luxurious. When you sit in those seats, holy moly, your buns just get massaged. Ooh. I'll do a video on that one day. Bun massagers. But your ADAS system, and one of those things, I think they call it level 3. Like, somebody told me, well, JC, what you just experienced is like level 3 or level 4. And I was like, if that's level 4, you need to throw that damn chart out the fucking window. Sorry for my French there. But I'm like, that to me made those levels just a joke. If they call that level 3 or level 4, then those L1 through L5 for autonomy is a freaking joke. An absolute joke. By the way, you notice my wife didn't ask me to take her Mercedes up to Wichita, Kansas? She asked me to take her in the Tesla all the way to Wichita, Kansas? Ding, 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 ding. You get a prize. You get a prize. I'm Oprah now. All right, let me go down to chill. But all you folks out there that are clamoring about L1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that Mercedes is ahead, then answer me this. My wife has a very, I would say, when did we get that? In the last 2 to 3 years. Brand new Mercedes. All the bells and whistles. She's got all the ADAS stuff that Mercedes has available. When she decided that she would rather have me take her up to Wichita, Kansas from Houston, why didn't she just ask me to drive her in her Mercedes if it's that much better? If their ADAS system is better than Tesla's, why didn't she just have me take her in her Mercedes? And she preferred the Tesla. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, for something that's so much better than Tesla, surely my wife would have wanted to drive 800 to 900 miles in the best possible ADAS system available and much more luxurious seats than the Tesla. I don't know why she would have chose the Tesla with all of that. All right, let's see how we do. Are you going to park at the Superchargers? Let's see what we do here. What are we going to do? Well, there's a car right there. Don't park there. There's a Tesla there already. All right, it's going to pull over here. All right, you see where the Superchargers are. All right. Well, hold on. So let me give it a second here. Is it going to come back around? What's it doing here? All right, just well, there's the Superchargers right there, and it looked like it wanted to try to park, but then there was a Tesla already. So as you can see, when it comes to parking, even at Tesla Superchargers, it's still hit or miss. So we're right by them. I'm obviously going to manually park at the Tesla Superchargers and go in and use the bathroom, get a refreshment. So I'm going to shut down the cameras here for a little bit. Probably need to let this one charge up a bit before we get back on the road. And yeah, I'll see y'all in a little bit. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Back in the Tesla. Got all charged up. We got up to about 76%. Way past what I need to get to Austin. I mean, we're only about an hour away from Austin. But yeah. Went ahead and just got a little bit of extra juice and got a couple of drinks. And yep, now it's time to get back on the road to Austin. Let's go. All right, push the little blue button. And as you remember, about 10, 15 minutes ago, well, for you a second ago, that's where we parked right there. Excuse me. So did not do the best job in the world of parking at the Supercharger. But again, even on 13.2.9, parking is 50-50. So 50% of the time, I'll get parked perfectly at a Tesla Supercharger where it'll reverse in. And the other 50% of the time, it'll just find a spot to stop at right somewhere at the Superchargers. There's one of the old Buc-ee's before they got big. See that Buc-ee's right there? That's one of the old school ones before they became those big old Disney World type of Buc-ee's. That may have been what that's, I don't think that's the original. I think the original one is like down in like League City or Baytown or something. But that's definitely one of the first 5 or 10 or so, or maybe 2 or 3. All right. And we are just making sure we're on chill mode as we're going through Giddings here. Nice little town here in Central Texas. Like I said, not far from Austin at all. About 45 minutes outside Austin. We're actually going a little bit further because I'm going to the southwest side of Austin. So a little bit further than just Austin itself. But yeah, as a crow flies, Giddings is about a 45-minute drive to Austin. So should be seeing Austin here pretty soon. All right. Well, here we are, not far from Austin, and I've gotten through 2 of the 10 or so. I was like, at the beginning of the drive, I was like, well, if I get through everything, I'll leave the video going and whatnot. In fact, let me just double check that. Yep, all good. I did charge up the batteries a little bit more. Because I like to, well, on the middle camera, it's not as an issue because I keep it on a lightning cable there. But the front camera, I try to avoid, I mean, the front camera itself already takes up a little bit of the windshield. I try to avoid having to use a charging cable for it as much as possible. Like I said, to leave as much of the front windshield unobstructed as I possibly can. One of the things that's been helpful on that, so that's actually the third, well, let me say that first and then I'll get to the third point, but they're related. One of the things I do with the front camera that's a little bit different than the middle camera, because that's getting the stuff that folks really want to have better video quality on, I keep this one at 4K. So the middle one I've got going at 4K. And so I've got it on a charging cable, obviously a lightning cable. And so that makes sure that, and I've got the battery housing door, whatever you would call that. Okay, there we go. Good job. I took that off so that more air can flow into the battery area. Keep the camera as cool as possible. Because I'm telling you, when you're filming in 4K, especially on these GoPros, I don't want to say anything bad about my GoPros right now. Not while they're going. Good GoPros. GoPros are great. Especially mine. But, yeah, when you're filming in 4K, it just takes, it's a lot more heat. So that's good that I'm able to keep a charging cable on that one. And it's the one that you want to have that one in 4K as much as possible, right? Because the front windshield is what folks are really, really focusing on. Front windshield, the footwell, the steering wheel, the user interface on the screen. That's what folks want to get a good look at. So I've got that at 4K. However, on my front camera, that is just basically focused on me and the interior cabin, I've got that on 1080. And I don't think folks really care that much because number one, it's focused on the interior cabin. There's not a lot of, nobody wants to get a good look at my mug anyway, right? Nobody's looking at my videos for my face. God help me. I mean, I'd still be stuck at the 30 or so family and friends that used to be my YouTube subscribers a few months ago if it was about my face. So it is definitely not about this ugly mug. So nobody cares to see me in 4K. And quite honestly, nobody really cares about the interior cab. People like to see the window. I know I've had comments about that. Folks really like to see as much of the surrounding windows as much as possible. But again, I have not had any comments back at me like, hey, I've noticed that the video quality is worse on the in-cabin camera part of it versus the front windshield. And I think another reason why is because I do picture-in-picture, and obviously the video of me talking to you and inside the cabin and the windows, it's a much smaller portion. I put it at the lower right corner of the final video, and so it's obviously a much smaller portion of the video as well. And so yeah, I just made the decision that because it's the camera getting the most heat already, right? Because it's at the front windshield. Take care of that nag. Because it's getting you know, more heat than the other one from being closer to the sun, obviously. And the fact that I try to stay away from using a charging cable. Let's see, is this 70 through here? Can I go? Oh, let me go. Hold on. Put a pin in that because I'm going to go to hurry mode now. Yeah, I want to avoid using a cable, so it really helps to have it at 1080 instead of 4K. And like I said, nobody has ever said a comment. Now somebody's probably just to be a joker going to say something about it, but I honestly can't tell the difference because it's not something you're focusing on the detail of, right? Oh, what are we doing here? No, we're not turning left. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, that was not good. That was not good. So I did not have to intervene, but FSD hasn't done that in quite a while. You saw what it just did. It got over into the left turning lane and treated it like it was one of the main lanes for the road. I don't know why it did that. Now, that being said, you saw me. I did not intervene, and it was able to correct itself. I was ready, but had there been a passenger in my Uber and it did that, I would have intervened on that. No doubt about it. Yeah, that is, again, I'm going to put that in the lane selection issue part of the FSD issues. Again, I get it. We're still on 13.2, and we all know 13.2 still has lane selection issues, especially in the hurry mode, right? That when you put it in hurry mode, it just seeks out that leftmost lane like a hawk and just goes for it. Like it's got diabetes and that left lane is an insulin shot. That is the best way I can explain how Tesla FSD in the hurry mode looks at that left lane when there's other vehicles on the road. It is like somebody with diabetes and there is a syringe with insulin in the leftmost lane going. Sorry, I just probably screwed up the sound with that for a little bit. Sorry about that. I know sometimes when I do that, it screws up the sound on the GoPro, so I apologize about that. But yeah, I got to call that out. That did not result in an intervention. I let FSD work itself out, and I will tell you, I was pretty confident I knew what it was going to do. That I knew it wasn't going to keep going straight, because even I remember V11 and early parts of V12 had that issue too, with those left turning lanes on state highways. But even when it had those issues, FSD would always stop. But the problem is on V11 and V12, it would just stop on a dime and then do nothing, and then just stay there. And you'd have to take over and try to get yourself back on the highway. With the later versions of V12, I think by the time we got to 12.5, that pretty much went away. Like, I don't remember, that is the first time I have seen FSD do that on a state highway like this since, God, like 12.3 or something, like early. And it may have even gone away with version 12 if I think about it now. That was definitely a V11 issue, but it may have been a early V12, still with early V12. Anywho, it worked itself out nicely. We got back over smoothly, quickly, confidently, but that was just, from a comfort factor, that was not good. No, you cannot be doing that with passengers in the car, right? It's fine when it's just me, some old knucklehead Marine who loves FSD and is willing to, let the car work, because I know what it can do. I've got tens of thousands of miles of FSD. And when I say tens of thousands, I mean multiple, like obviously at least 30,000 plus just in this one. And I had a good 30,000 or more in my, probably more than that in my old. So I've got well above 50 or 60,000 miles of Tesla FSD. Granted, I know there's some in the community with even more than that because they've been doing it longer. Been there since day one. But I got a lot. And I've done it in all sorts of scenarios. So I'm comfortable with it. I know what, I pretty much knew exactly what it was going to do in that scenario. The only thing I didn't know was how smoothly and confidently it would get back over to the right and correct itself versus what it used to do is just slam on the brakes and stop, which it should. If you're going to, it's better that than keep going straight into the median, right? But with a customer, had I had a passenger, especially like a Uber customer, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Robo-taxi here. I would not have put them through that. As soon as it got over into that left turning lane, what are we doing here? Oh, we're about to, let's see. We slowing down a bit. Let me put it in chill mode again, because I think we're about to go through a city, or we may already be in one. In fact, I think we're about to get on another road. Yep. All right. But yeah, I gotta call it. Real's gotta be real. You gotta call a spade a spade. That was not good. Did not result in any intervention, critical or non-critical. I didn't touch the brake. I didn't hit the brake. I didn't have to touch the accelerator to get back over. I didn't have to take over the steering wheel. It was safe, but just not the best. Now, what I don't know, because it was so smooth getting back over, is would a passenger in the back of a robo-taxi who's busy doing their own thing and not paying attention to the drive or micromanaging the drive? So, in other words, anybody but my wife. I'm just kidding. She's not, that's the only see, it almost did it again. Well, because we needed to get off on this exit. So it got over a little too early. Did you see that? So it was starting to get over, but that was, now I'll give FSD a little bit of a break on that one, because those are like two back-to-back right lane turns. So that one I'm a little, and it was just starting and it got right back over. So that one I'm not gonna really get on it about. And quite honestly, that one wasn't even jittery. It never even fully got over. But again, you know, you can see just a little bit of lane selection stuff there. But yeah, what I was saying is, would somebody who was not paying attention to the drive, who was a passenger in the back seat, would they have noticed? I don't know, because I'll have to look at the video, because it didn't slam on the brakes, right? It had to slow down, obviously, to get over when it got over into that left turning lane and then to get back over. But I'll just have to look to see if something like that would have been noticeable to a passenger. And the reason why I wonder that is because if a passenger notices all that, that's going to freak them the hell out. And their confidence level is, even though it worked itself out and it's all good to go when we're back on the highway, I guarantee you that the rest of that drive, they're going to be paying attention the rest of the way. And you don't want them to have to do that, right? So just got to call it like it is. That's one of those just comfort snafus. I don't know what you want to label it. So I know we have critical intervention and we have non-critical intervention, but when you don't even have to intervene on something, but it's clearly not good, what do we call that? Like a comfort snafu? I mean, it's obviously it's a lane selection issue, but when it doesn't result in any sort of intervention, you got to come up with a good, consistent name that everybody would agree on. Because we need to tag those as well. I mean, that's going to come through in my video, right? But it's not something that necessarily, I don't know. And see, the other thing is I'm on 13.2. I mean, Tesla AI is at least one, maybe two versions ahead right now. So this might just be totally irrelevant at this point. Hell, I thought it was totally irrelevant with version 13. That's the first time that has happened to me in a long, long time on a state highway. So, what were we talking about? I think I was talking about the camera setup. So yeah, I've got this camera at 1080, and that lets me film on it without a charging cable for a lot longer. Well, trying to take care. So it gave me a nag. I put my hand on the steering wheel. That's the other thing. All right. While I'm on, you all know I'm a Tesla bull, and I'm definitely an FSD bull. I am all in on this. But while we're still in supervised land, can somebody in Tesla AI, when you want us to take care of a nag, can you make it where we don't literally have to disengage to take care of a nag? I mean, some of these nags I get, let's see, it just gave me a nag for nagging. It said, you stop nagging, you son of a gun. That one was easy. I just touched, literally all I had to do was do that and it was good to go. But some of these, it's like they want you to wiggle the wheel so hard that I'm afraid I'm going to disengage. And honestly, and I think even other Tesla bulls who agree that 13.2 is not ready for driverless robo-taxi. I'll be the first to say it. It is not driverless. God, it's nagging me again. Like, I wonder if that's because I was doing this. But, that's something that, come on, guys. Like, it can't be, just touch the damn wheel. That's it. It can't be, no, I need you to touch the wheel so hard that you disengage FSD and become more dangerous. Because we all know it is much more dangerous to disengage FSD while you're still driving. That is probably, honestly, the most dangerous thing you can do. God, it has just nagged me 4 times in a row. It really does not like me talking about the nag. Did y'all see that? knows I'm talking. This thing's a fucking robot. Did AI just become AGI? Dude, I didn't even, that was more nags than we had back in the, dude, that's 5 in a row. I'm gonna keep my hand still for a second. That's crazy. Like, it knows. It's become sentient. Now, obviously, I'm joking right now. Move my seat up here a little bit too. We are about 45 minutes away from the part of Austin I'm going to. Well, we're in a 60, yeah, so I don't know what's going on, but the attention monitoring right now has really gotten sensitive here in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And I mean, I'm on chill, going 68 on a wide open state highway. And it has just really gotten sensitive here in the last 5 minutes. I don't know. Why could that be? Is it because I'm talking about you? Waiting for another nag. So my camera setup. Yep, I've got 1080 on the front camera, the one that's facing me and the cabin. I've got 4K on the GoPro that is facing the front windshield and all of this area. And they are both GoPros. So you see how I'm out. I've got a suction cup mount for both of them. I've got a suction cup mount with an extender. So I bought some extra rod extenders. And guys, just everybody asked me for the exact thing I've got. I don't even know what it is. I bought them so long ago. They're generic. I'm telling you. Go on Amazon. There are plenty of suction cup mounts. You know, just type in suction cup mount for GoPro on Tesla roof. And I'm telling you, they're going to bring up like 20 of them. And they're all the same. I mean, there's no one brand that is way better than others. Now, it's still showing we're in a 60. I'm going 65 and a 60, and that dude just went by me like I was parked. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, because we're going through Bastrop right now. I think the speed limits through here is 60. Attention monitoring unavailable. So yeah, I've got a suction cup mount, and then for the middle camera, the one that you attach to your roof for the front windshield, you got to get some extender rods, right? Because the suction cup mounts all come with something that you can fasten your GoPro to, but it's not going to be low enough in your cabin to capture the front windshield and everything. It's going to be too high. So what you're going to need is get some extender rod. And what I would tell you is when you go on Amazon, what they're going to show you is things that other people bought similar or at the same time as those. Just look at, they'll probably be in there, but if not, look for extender rod with suction cup mount for GoPro attached to Tesla roof. I guarantee you, and there's going to be plenty of those too. I've got like 2 of them. So I have 2 extender rods, not big ones. You can either use 1 big one or 2 smaller ones. I prefer to use 2 smaller ones. What I have found, just me personally, and I don't know why, there's probably some physics involved here, but it's a lot more stable when I have 2 short rods attached to each other versus 1 single long rod. I don't know why. Obviously there's physics involved. Which leads me to another, so that's just my preference. I know other folks just have 1 long extender rod. that they use. But that's what I do. I got a suction cup mount. I attach a couple of extender rods to it, and then you put the GoPro on the bottom. And obviously you have the GoPro facing towards the windshield, and then you just got to play with it, right? There's an app, there's an iPhone app for GoPro, which allows you to enable a preview. And so you just play with it, like how you place it to get the best view of the front windshield. And like I said, I have always preferred to get not just all of the front windshield, but the footwell, the steering wheel, the screen, all of it. Man, what is going on? It has really started giving me, like in the last 10 minutes, I've gotten like 7 nags. And I don't know why. I mean, that's like the old school nags. But even worse, some of those were just like back to back to back to back. Interesting. Again, this is stuff I know probably why it's doing, and it's not because I was talking about it. It's because I use my hands a lot to talk, and I was turning my head quite a bit, and I got sunglasses and a hat on, so I'm giving everything possible to the system, to the security system right now. I'm giving it back to it. So yeah, that's how I set up my middle camera. And I have it on 4K. I recorded 4K and I want to say 30 frames per second. It's either 24 or 30. I know some people like to film at 60. What I have found personally is none of my viewers really care whether it's 30 or 60. I mean, 60 looks a little bit more like real life, like you were there, like point of view type of thing. And 24 to 30 is more like a movie. 24 especially is almost like you're watching a movie. But what I would tell you is I have never gotten any comments from anybody. I've definitely gotten comments that people prefer 4K. That, no doubt about it. But I've never gotten anybody say, oh, I really wish you would use 60 frames per second instead of 30. Never. Not one time. And I'll tell you, I kind of personally, I don't know. I just don't have a preference on that. I like the 4K. I don't really care about whether it's 30 or 60. And quite frankly, when you have it on 60, you want to, if you've got it 4K and 60, man, you want to talk about generating some heat. It's going hard in the paint. Okay, what do we got going on here? Looks like great job, FSD. So instead of getting behind them, because those guys got stuck behind the lady there, we got around all of them. Great decision making there. Excellent. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I've got it on 4K, 30 frames per second. Okay, the Kia didn't know where it wanted to go, but that's okay. FSD's got you covered, Kia. What else about this? 4K, 30 frames per second. Oh, I do not have stabilization on. I do not. Stabilization also takes a lot of heat, uses a lot of energy. And quite frankly, when you use the GoPro stabilization, the video just comes out looking wonky. Like, I don't know. I just don't like GoPro's stabilization feature. So I turn that off. And what I do is later on in editing, then I stabilize it. I stabilize it in Final Cut Pro. I turn the stabilization off. So not only does it look bad in my view when you've got the stabilization on, but it uses a lot of energy to do it, as you can imagine. So I turn all of that off. Everything else, I kind of use like straight out of the box. Like I don't do anything special with coloring or wind or I mean, we're in the car, so you don't need to adjust for wind. Natural lighting. Yeah, pretty much I would say everything else is just kind of like factory setting for when you have it on 4K. So when you put your GoPro on 4K, it automatically adjusts some of the settings in there. I just leave those alone. So the only things that I manually adjust is I put it on 4K and I put it on 30 frames per second. And I think 30 frames per second is even standard with 4K. I think you don't even have to manually adjust that. I think you only have to manually adjust if you want to go up or down. I think 30 is kind of like the standard frames per second. If you want to go down to 24, you're going to have to manually do it. If you want to go up to 60, you're going to have to manually do it. Hell, I think you can even go up to 120. But I don't need that. So that's the middle camera. The front camera, like I told you, even more basic. I've got a suction cup mount, but I don't have any extender rod on that. It's just the suction. Basically, pull the suction cup mount out of its box when you get it from Amazon. Freaking stick it to the front windshield. Now, I do try to place it in an area that takes up as little of the front windshield as possible. Also, where it's out of the final video that I have. So the way I cut my video, I don't have the entire, like I cut off a little bit of the top of the front windshield. So quite frankly, my front camera, it's only really cut, maybe half of it is covering things up. So I try to get it out of the way as much as possible, but that's it. And then I've got it set on 1080, 30 frames per second. That's it. Nothing special. On the middle one, you can I use a charging cable on that one because it's 4K. You can completely take the battery out if you want to, which will help from a heating standpoint. I personally leave a battery in, and here's why. For whatever reason, sometimes charging cables will just, I don't know, they'll move around or they'll find the weirdest times to not work for a little while. You know what I'm talking about with charging cables. Sometimes you got to unplug them, plug them back in, and then they're good to go. But while you're driving, you don't want to mess up. You want the video to be as continuous as possible, right? And so what I do with my middle camera is I go ahead and leave a battery in there. Even though I don't need it, I leave it in there. So if in case the cable does stop working for whatever reason, I've got a battery backup in there that'll keep it going. And then on front camera, I do use the battery. So I kind of have to keep an eye out on the charge on it. But what I would tell you is on 1080, if you have a full charge, 100% charge on the battery and a GoPro, and you're filming at 1080, I mean, you can go for a couple hours. 4K, 4K, it's going to give out, like, if you don't have a cable in, or just a battery, you're probably going to get half hour, maybe 40, I don't know, 30 to 40. But at 1080, I've gone 2+ hours before of continuous filming without a cable. And before the battery just went completely out. So, yeah, that is my camera setup. The only other thing that I may do from time to time is I will also use my iPhone for filming. The only times that I use the iPhone for filming. We're still technically going through, we're in Bastrop right now, so I'm going to keep it on chill just to make sure that we don't go like a bat out of Hades, a demon from hell through here. Yeah, The only time I use my iPhone for filming is if I'm doing like a live stream on X, which I like to do sometimes too. I've done those, and I will turn the video on the iPhone around, and we'll do a live stream while I'm driving from my phone, basically right there, but just position the Joa MagSafe phone charger and phone holder to where it's on top of my screen, and so it's filming as much of the front windshield as possible. I will tell you, I have tried to do live streams kind of the way I do my GoPro, but man, I have to get so far back in my Tesla. I can't even like reach back there to get, for whatever reason, I don't know why. And this is something I wish X would fix, and I would do more. I would probably use my iPhone for more live streams if X could do this. When you're using your iPhone to do video, so a live stream, and you're trying to, obviously video during the live stream. That's what the live stream is. It does not, I can't find any place within the X, once you're in the live, once you're about to set up the live stream, I don't see any way to adjust the camera features. And what I mean by that is, like, say for instance, you're just on your iPhone and you're wanting to video something. You can adjust the settings. You can go 5x the settings, or you can go down to half, right? If you want to get more of it in the camera, you go down to half. If you want to really hone in on something, you can go to 5x, and then you can use your fingers to even go lower or more. You can't do that with a live stream in X. At least I have not figured out a way to do it. And I went on Grok and looked it up, and it said you couldn't do it. Like, it doesn't have the functionality. So, couple of things there. Number one, if anyone watching this video does a lot of live streams on X and they have found a way to be able to adjust the video size, let me know. And if you haven't, and I'm right, somebody in the X community, can y'all fix that? I mean, how hard could that be? I mean, just let it use the iPhone capabilities. I mean, the iPhone's already got it in there in the camera. So why can't we do that in the X app when we're doing a live stream? I'm telling you, if I could do that, that would allow me not to have to crawl all the way back into my trunk. I mean, honestly, I'm being tongue-in-cheek a bit, but just a bit. I damn near got to put the camera all, because I don't just want to film my front windshield. I want you to see everything. I want you to see my footwell, and I want you to see all of, I want you to be able to see just as much as you can see with my GoPro. Well, if I'm going to do that with the X live stream, I've literally got to put the iPhone back at the very end of the glass roof. Like, literally, it is above my trunk. And it's just not worth it when I have a GoPro. And so I would do more live streams just like that. But I don't think X has the functionality for it. And I see other people doing live streams in their cars. And don't get me wrong, I love all of y'all that do it. But I'm just going to call a spade a spade. You're not showing everything. I prefer to see everything in the front cabin. That's the way I when I was coming into the Tesla community, the folks that I followed, and everybody's going to make jokes about it, but obviously Omar's the one that, really got me into the community. The guy that, when I first started seeing his videos, they just wowed the living heck out of me. And so Omar's really the one responsible for all this madness now. So if any of y'all hate me, don't write to me, write to Omar. He's responsible for me. But that's the way I came up. It was the way that Omar filmed his drive. He filmed everything. He wanted you to see, like, it's right there. You can see his footwell. You can see the steering wheel. You can see everything. And so there's no way to Jimmy with that. And these folks that just filmed the front windshield, I'm like, okay, I see which, but I can't see everything, right? And it's just, for me, I don't want to piss anybody off. It's just not as enjoyable to me. I'm just not going to watch those. I'm just not. Because I don't know if it's all on the up and up. So, yeah, I hate to, no, I'm still, if you're a friend, I'm going to watch your videos, but I'm just telling you, they're just not as much fun. They're just not. They don't give me as much information as I would personally want to see as a viewer. So that's just me. Turn the AC down a little bit. So yeah, if you know of a way to do it, let me know. And I will start doing more of those. But until X fixes that, and I get it, I know there's a bunch of issues with spaces, but I'm not talking about spaces, I'm talking about live streams. And I thought X was trying to go hard in the paint on live streams. But if you can't even adjust the video size in a live stream when your own iPhone has the ability to do it, I'm a little bit floored on it. And maybe that's still a hangover from the old Twitter world. But hey guys, I mean, what, we're 2 years in now, right? I think that's supposed to have been 2 years since the takeover. Yeah. If I'm completely off base, somebody then, don't just let me know you can do it. Send me detailed instructions. Because Grok couldn't tell me. I went on Grok and ChatGPT, and they were both like, let me just get beat to the punch. No, you can't do it. You're going to have to use a third-party app. I don't want to use a third-party app. I just want to use my damn iPhone through your app. I don't want to use another app to do it. So, all right. So that is my camera setup when I am filming my FSD drives. Then, just last point on my cameras, folks ask me all the time about, what about when you're doing Uber? So obviously you still have your, how does that all work? Not just from a filming standpoint, but from like a privacy and legality standpoint. So yes, I have the exact same camera setup when I am doing Uber. I've got my front one here and the middle one here. So let's tackle the legality part first. That's easier. So I live in Texas. Texas is a, what's the terminology they use? Single party, uniparty consent state. Yeah. It's they either call it single party or uniparty consent state. What that means is, and every state is different. So first of all, everything said or filmed within your vehicle in all 50 states in the United States is your personal property. So that's number one. That's all 50 states. So if you film something within your car, that is your property. Further, you are absolutely allowed to film in your car in all 50 states. And primarily you want to do that as an Uber driver from a security standpoint, right? You definitely want to have a dash cam at least if you're an Uber driver. There's too much he said, she said stuff out there. People saying that they left stuff in your Uber. People saying that you said this or that, or you did this or that. And I'm going to tell you what, if you accept anybody in your Tesla who is under the age of 18, brother, if you don't have a dash cam going, Lord help you. Lord help you. Do not. Either if you are so inclined that you don't want to have any cameras in your car, you don't want to stick anything anywhere, then don't accept teenagers. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. I'm telling you, do not do it. Anywho, so those are the two. That's federal. All 50 states, you can film in your car, and whatever you film is your property. However, every state is different from state to state as it relates to consent of those conversations. So I think it's half and half. I think the last time I looked, I think the states are like half and half, where it's single party consent, uniparty consent versus all party consent. And what that means is if your state is a multi-party consent state or all party consent, that means that if you are going to use that video for anything, something as trivial as a YouTube video, so that would be pretty trivial, all the way to being something that's discovery in a court of law, right? Like somebody said something about you that you say is untrue, and so now you need to admit that into court, right? As part of evidence, as discovery. So those are the two extremes, right? Regardless, in a multi-party or all parties, I forget what they call it. I think they call it multi-party consent. Golly, the nag has just been going nutso here. Oh, I wonder what it's... That is funny. Let's see if... You can see me? I mean, I don't think I was sitting too far forward. Sometimes when I sit too far forward, and especially if I'm wearing a hat and I'm sitting too far forward, I get it. The angle of the camera lens, maybe it can't see my eyes very well. And obviously I got sunglasses on right now. I could take those off. I guarantee you, if I took my sunglasses off right now, it would probably stop nagging me. But I'm not. I'm that stubborn. I should be able to wear, yeah, because the sun is like right at the front windshield right now. But anyway, what was I talking? Oh yeah, the privacy laws. So in a multi-party, that means that all parties that were part of that conversation, all of them, under all scenarios, have to consent. And most of the time that's going to have to be in written form. Will have to consent to it being used for any means, right? So, in other words, you can keep it, it's your property, but you can't use it for anything unless you have their written consent. Then there's the other half of the United States, and Texas is in this other half, where it's single party. So, if it's in your car, if it's in your personal property, in your house, in your car, if it is inside your personal property, you are allowed to film, and you can use that film as evidence or as anything. The only thing that you need to do in a single party consent state is you don't want to risk being sued for privacy issues. And so what a lot of folks like myself will do, well, I'll tell you what I personally do, but let me tell you the baseline. I go a little further than the baseline. So the baseline is, if you're going to use that video that you filmed, and this could be anybody. This isn't just an Uber passenger. This is like your cousin comes over at Thanksgiving and you film the family Thanksgiving, right? Well, yeah, that's your personal property. But if you put that on YouTube, I mean, if you put your cousin's personal information out there, you could be sued over that. So what you got to do in those situations, here's the baseline. And this is only for single party consent states. If you're in a multi-party, this does not go for you, unfortunately. But if you're in a single party consent state, what you got to do is you've got to blur any discernible physical characteristics of that individual. So obviously that's going to be their face. So their face has to be blurred in all instances. But what I would tell you to be safe is that you pretty much need to blur their entire body, because a lot of times folks will have tattoos or wear certain types of jewelry or wear certain types of maybe even shoes. So you don't want, you basically can't, have somebody be identifiable through physical character, through outward appearance, physical characteristics. Let's see, we're only about 10 minutes away now. And so I do that. And then further, I mute out quite a bit. So I don't know if y'all have heard some of my Uber videos, but I'm going to tell you, damn near half of the effort, I would say 50% of my time and effort on those Uber videos are blurring out all personally identifiable information. So what I blur out, I blur their body out. I blur, if it's anywhere around their neighborhood, I blur, obviously I blur their house out, but then I will generally start blurring out essentially when you're about a half mile to a mile out to their house. So I blur that out. Oh, you know what? Now I see what it is. It's saying it's detecting something in my hand. I wonder if it's, let me do this. Maybe if I do this, it's because I was doing this and like maybe that's it. Let's see if this is better. So I blur out their physical characteristics. I blur out their home and their neighborhood, and about usually at least about a half mile out, I'll start blurring the outward front windshield. And then you'll also notice I blur out a whole lot of stuff on my user interface screen. So addresses, when we get close to their destination, I'll start blurring out most of the mapping data, anything that could show where we're at. So you got to spend a lot of time blurring, because even though it's your property, and even though you may live in a single party consent state, you don't want to be putting their personal identifiable information out there. So essentially, all anybody's going to see is this blurry blob in the back of your Tesla talking to you about FSD or talking to you about their day. And other than that, you're not going to be able to know who they are. You're not going to be able to figure out who they are or where they live. Other than obviously, they live somewhere close to me. What else? And then, so that is the baseline. You must do that. Now, what I will tell you, if you live in a single party consent state, the other party, if for whatever reason they change their mind and they don't like the video you put up on YouTube or X, they can still ask you to take it down because they're uncomfortable that somebody may still, I don't know. Even though you didn't put out any personal identifiable information, you blurred them, all of that stuff, they may still ask you. If they ask you to do it and you don't do it, you could get sued. What I will tell you though is if you blur and you mute where there's no personal identifiable information, you're good to go up to the point, unless they ask you, no, I'd rather have it taken down, or they proactively tell you, no, can you not post this one, or can you mute out this entire section? So that's kind of the baseline in a single party consent state. Where I go further is I actually have stickers on my car. So on the windows of my, like, as the person is getting into my Tesla, there is a sticker right above the door handle that says there is filming. I can't remember the exact words, but in essence what it says is, you are hereby consenting to being filmed by getting into this Tesla. It says there's a video, there's a camera going 24/7 within this vehicle. And so you, by entering this vehicle, you thereby consent to being filmed. So I have that. And then I also got something in the back that's just another reminder that filming is going on. And so that goes above and beyond the baseline. I don't have to do that in Texas, but I do it. Just as added heads up, added protection. I mean, it's like I said, I've got 4 stickers, 2 on the outside, 2 on the inside, that are plain as day. And unless you're blind, you're going to see it. Secondly, what I would tell you is, if you get in the back of my Tesla, you would have to be really, really, really non-observant, or again, blind, to not see that I'm filming more than the average Uber driver. I've literally got a GoPro hanging from the middle of my roof with a big old charging cable in it and a red dot blinking in your face if you're in my back seat. You know I'm filming. So that's another thing. Nobody could ever get into my Tesla and say, I never knew he was filming. Again, the camera right in your face, but then the stickers that I put on the outside that says, you are hereby consenting to being filmed by getting into my Tesla. And nobody has ever said, well, you know what, I'm just not going to take a ride for it. I have had a small handful of people ask me, now when I say small handful, I've had 3 people specifically ask me not to upload the entire video. And I won't get into the reasons, but they were all different for all 3. One was due to employment, the type of employment they had. One was due to relationship issues. We'll leave that at that. Well, no, 2 of them were due to relationship issues. So one was due to, they thought it might be problematic with their employer if they were seen inside of a Tesla talking about Tesla and FSD. We'll leave it at that. One of them, I literally spent 2 hours in the car with this guy, and he was in a pickle. He was in an issue with his wife and his girlfriend. And yes, those were 2 separate people. So, as you might imagine, I didn't even ask, he didn't want it up there, but honestly, even if he hadn't asked me, I wouldn't have put that one up there. And then a third one was an individual who had their girlfriend in my Tesla. And let's just say that this individual was really loved the Tesla, was really interested in FSD, and we had a great conversation. But even though he knew I would blur both of them out, he just did not want to have the chance of somebody else possibly seeing another blurry blob next to him while we were talking about Tesla and FSD. You know, I stay out of people's, but that's, you know what? You cannot, I am not a priest. I am not a preacher. I am not a surveyor of people, emotions, or psychology. I am not any of those things. And so it is not my job to cast any moral judgment on any human being. I am a human being just like they are. My job is to get them from point A to point B. And secondarily, I'm a Tesla nerd. So I'm going to talk to them, whether they get nauseous or not. I'm going to talk to them if they talk to me about Tesla FSD. We'll just let them know the car is driving itself. And so a lot of times we have great conversations about that. But yeah, I'm just not going to put those videos up. So that's happened 3 times. Again, 1 due to an employment situation, and 2 due to relationship, not issues, but relationship subtleties. That's about as good of a word as any. Hopefully y'all know where I was going with that. And then I've had way more than that. Probably 15 to 20 that we had really great conversations. They knew I was filming, and they were good. They actually, some of them even wanted, like, they wanted to know what my YouTube channel was like. They wanted to, they were stoked to be a part of it, but maybe there were certain parts of the video where we talked about something that they did not want that business to be out there in the public. And I will tell you, so that's probably been about 15 or 20 that have unilaterally asked me, can you just bleep that? Like, I'm good with the bit, but can you just bleep that part out? And some of them have even said, I'm even fine with you not blurring me. I always blur. Even when somebody asks me, even when somebody tells me, like, hey, I don't even mind if you don't blur me. Just mute that part out. Nah. Because you never know when somebody's going to change their mind. So I kind of want to stay at that baseline Texas single party consent state area where nobody could ever come back on me and sue me, type of thing. At least, I mean, they can always sue you, but they would never have a chance of winning. Right, so. Too many people change minds. You never know what happens in life after they get out of your Tesla. And I would rather just take the whole thing down than start going back through and editing shit again. What else on those? Yeah, so that's been about 15 to 20. And then I'm going to be honest with you. There have been some where we had great conversations. They neither asked nor required that I blur them or mute them. But like I said before, I blur everybody and everything. That's just my baseline, and I'm not going to. And then, as I'm listening back to the conversation, I'm like, I know they didn't ask me to, but I'm going to hook a brother up, and I'm going to mute that shit out. Because, I don't know. I mean, it just in my, if in my mind, I would want that information muted, I'm going to mute it for him. So, it's very seldom that I'm not having to mute at least some parts. And quite frankly, I'm almost always going to have to mute some of it because I like to call people by their names. So when I get somebody in their car, let's just say, for instance, their name is Marguerite or Mary, right? I like to call people by their names. Say, oh, you know, that's a great question, Marguerite. And I may use their name 10 times in the video because that creates a more one-on-one connection, right? And I like those one-on-one connections. And so in those situations, I always try to mute their name out. If I use their first name, even though I know in a lot of cases they're not even using their real name. It's Uber, for Christ's sake. Hell, I picked up a kid the other night. His name was Goku. black kid with dreadlocks. I'm pretty damn sure his mama did not name, like, a black kid with dreadlocks in the 5th Ward. I'm pretty doggone sure his mama did not name him Goku. I'm pretty sure he's just a big anime fan, loves Dragon Ball Z Kai and all of that stuff. All power to him. My kids love Dragon Ball as well. Big fans. And he was a good kid. But I am telling you, I'd put $1,000 on that Goku is not his real name. So I did not sit there and call him Goku. So I did not have to mute that out. But I say that to say that, hey, I get it. Most people are not using their real names as their Uber app names or whatever. They're usually coming up with something kind of pithy or, you know, almost like a gamer name. And so, but I still mute it out because you never know. So yeah, that is how and again, like I said, I'm in Texas. Texas is a single party consent state on your own personal property. My vehicle is my personal property. My house is my personal property. Anything filmed or recorded in my car or in my house is my personal property, and I can consent single consent. I can unilaterally consent to its use as long as I do not divulge any personal identifiable information, PII, about them. And that's it. Now, like I said, I go further than that and I get consent. So I don't get written consent. I don't need that in the state of Texas. So what I would tell you is if you live in a multi-party consent state, and you really, really, really you're doing Uber and you're like, man, I'd love to, you know, put up some, because I've had some great discussions. Well, what I would tell you is if you live in a multi-party consent state, do everything I just did, but I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get written consent. I would highly recommend that you just ask them at the end, hey man, we had a great conversation. Love talking to you. I got my YouTube channel here. Let me show you on my iPhone. Here's my YouTube channel. Man, would you mind if I uploaded this? They're like, oh sure, no problem. And then just have like don't put no big time legalese on them, right? But let's see if it parks. And nope, it's not. So let me just park real quick. We are at my hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Actually, it's not Holiday Inn. It's one of those extended stays. And I'll finish out this last point I was talking about. So, hey, look, another I forgot. We're in Austin now. I was like, did you see me? I was like, look, another Tesla. And I'm like, dude, look here. You're in Austin, Texas. You're gonna see a bunch of those. But yeah, what I would do if you are in a and that's what you're in, dude, get written consent. Because unfortunately, yes, is it your property? But in your state, that individual has just as much right to that property as you do. In a single party state, they have no right to it, as long as there's no personal identifiable information in it. In half of the states in the country, they do. It's just, that's a state by state thing. That's what I would do. I would also just make sure it's clear in your car that you get those, so that you can go on Amazon and there's these stickers that say, by getting, it's real simple sticker. It's like that big. It says, you hereby consent to being filmed by getting into this car. And it's real simple. And then you can go even further and say like, hey, I have a YouTube channel or I have an X account and I upload videos from time to time. Just make little boilerplate stuff and you should be good. But I'm telling you, if you are in a multi-party consent state, and have a conversation, it goes really good, and you really just want to upload that, that's just me. You don't have to do this. You don't have to. You're not legally required. But I would tell you, and I'm not a lawyer, but I would just tell you, I'd probably go ahead and get written consent in some form or fashion on that. All right. And so I think that hit everything on I probably spent too much time on the whole Uber consent thing, but you know how this day and age, you just, want to be. And if anybody, no matter what, any of those states, whether it's single party or multi-party, reaches out and asks you to take it down, always take it down. Always take it down. That's all they got to do. It's real easy in a single party state, because if they don't ask you to take it down, then there's really nothing they can do, right? They have no they have to ask you to take it down first. If they change their mind and come back to you and say, hey, I'd really like for you to take this down, then you should do it. But in the state of Texas, if they don't do that, then they don't have they have to actually, physically go through the step of asking you to take it down. So I say all that to say, if they do, then by all means take it down. The biggest difference, I'm telling you, is in a multi-party state, I would probably go a little further and just get that written consent, or just have it, I mean, you can get verbal consent, but man, and those multi-party consent, there's a reason they're multi-party consent states, because somebody fought to make them multi-party. That means there's been a lot of cases in those state courts around that. When you're in a single party consent state, I mean, just is what it is, right? It makes life a lot easier. But if anybody reaches out, always take it down. That's what I do. So that's camera setup. So I got all the way to Austin, and I got through 3 of my 10 things, or 9. Actually, there's a 10th one that I didn't have on there. But I promise you we'll do more videos, and I'll get through all of these. But, yeah. So we talked about how many people have been in Teslas and experienced FSD when I've been doing Uber. We talked about that. FSD in the EU, and then my camera setup in the Tesla, both for my solo drives and for X and for Uber. So, been a great discussion. I talked the whole way here. Holy moly. Man, I don't know if that's a indictment on me or not, but anywho, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap these videos up. I'm here in Austin. I'm going to get checked in, and like I said, I'm going to be here a while. I'm looking forward to it. You can see I am not staying at the Taj Mahal. I'm not staying at the Four Seasons. I'm a simple man. Give me a $60 to $70 a night extended stay hotel. I'm telling you, I've been in enough of these. Extended stay America, nice and clean, just the basics. Hell, I'm not going to be in the room other than to sleep anyway. The only thing I'm going to do in my room is maybe work on some content for X and YouTube and sleep. That's it. So I don't need a bunch of accoutrements. I don't need a robe. I don't need slippers. I don't need a whirlpool. I don't need a pool. I think they even got a pool, but I don't need one. It's all I need. And guess what? It's like $59 a night, extended stay. Obviously, I got the fit because I'm staying longer. And I know a lot of people love to get out. I could probably do just as easily like on Airbnb. I like having somebody clean the room every day. I just I don't know. That's just me. When I'm with my wife and kids or family, I'll do Airbnb. When I'm all by my lonesome, I just go easy. Extended stay Americas are great. Sometimes you can get them for like $49, $50 a night, right? And that's just me. I'm going to spend most of my time out here in the beautiful city of Austin anyway. I don't want to be cooped up in an Airbnb or a hotel room. So, anywho, I'm going to shut her down. We got through 3 of them. 7 more to go. All right, everybody. I love you. And hopefully, if you're in Austin, reach out to me. I've already talked online to musician, aka Tariq. Talked to Rima, and a handful of other people. So if you're in the Austin area, look me up. I am going to be doing some Uber. But I'm also, I've got time for just doing FSD drives with folks in the Tesla. So if you're in Austin, reach out to me and we'll try to do some FSD together. I will be doing Uber while I'm here. I need to pay for my hotel room. But since it's $50 a night, I could probably do Uber for about an hour and a half. Well, hell, here in Austin, I could probably do Uber for an hour. I think Austin's pretty good from a driver standpoint. Do an hour or two of Uber and cover my hotel. But anyway, let me go ahead and wrap this thing up. You know I love you, and I will talk to y'all again soon. Bye-bye.